Check out this pig on the run. This could soon get you 6 months in jail in Louisiana. And hey, look, the governor of Vermont is starring in a children's theater production. Hey, I'm Greg Ott, and we've got all these weird and interesting news stories coming your way on your daily news refresh. So let's go whole hog on this thing right now. This is video from the other day out of Utah, where a Grantsville police officer is in the middle of handling a pig situation. As noted last week by this PD, some pigs had been running at large in a local neighborhood and stated that the city was going to try to trap them, which could be done at the owner's expense. And thus, an interaction like this, where an officer runs across a lawn and dives onto a driveway next to a basketball hoop to take down this swine, which the creature did not appear to appreciate. As I'm sure you could guess, Facebook comments trended incredibly obvious, with everyone from Matt Hammond writing, "Police officer tackles fellow officer," and Cherry Freeman stating, "Bacon chasing bacon," though Ashlyn Miller thinks, "We should start a fund to buy this guy a new pair of pants." Marie Lurwill said this reminds her of the time 4 officers in Grantsville chased around a huge rooster in her yard. And in the replies, the PD did post this photo of the cop with what appears to be a rooster with that officer, writing that he has a way with animals. At the very least, I'd keep this guy on my barbecue invite list. Have you ever found yourself in a situation like this, where someone comes up to your car and asks you for money? In this stock footage, young person receiving assistance from driver in urban setting gets handed a 50. In kind-hearted driver helps young woman in need during pandemic, the same sort of situation plays out from a different angle. And man opening car window passing money to homeless woman in slow motion portrait of kind Caucasian guy in automobile helping sad depressed poor person on city street does just that, but with a European Finsky in place of a US 50. Now, as the titles of these royalty-free clips we've proudly licensed here at your News Refresh may suggest, these acts depicted here could be considered helping and kind-hearted. But if a new piece of legislation in Louisiana has its way, there could be another way to describe the act of handing cash to a panhandler from your car. Illegal.
It's illegal for the person to be out there. Now, what we're doing is we're going to say the person that is offering that currency to them, we're going to hold them accountable as well.
That's Republican State Representative Dixon McMakin out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And yeah, right now, per Louisiana state law, whoever commits an intentional act of soliciting, begging, panhandling, or otherwise requesting anything of value on an interstate highway, including entrance and exit ramps, could face a $200 fine or 6 months in jail. But with House Bill 97, Dixon would be making it illegal not just to solicit money on the interstate, but to offer money. And not just on the interstate, but on any street. We're talking Big Diamond Disposal Road, Bozo Road, Blanchard Latex Road, Bacon Street, Candy Queen Lane, and yeah, Shopatulis. The hardest to pronounce from the 14 of the strangest street names in Louisiana I got from onlyinyourstate.com. So the people who are handing out money to panhandlers are putting themselves at risk, according to McMakin. Kind of like in Side View person in need asking for help from car window addressing poverty and begging issue, in which this person appears to just reach into the window and snatch the money out of the kind-hearted man's hand. McMakin also claims panhandling makes traffic worse. 2 thoughts that are echoed by this guy inside of a car and this woman standing at a gas station.
Number 1, it would cut down on the congestion in an intersection, and also number 2, the person who is giving the money, let's try to keep them safe and let's the homeless people go through the proper channels of organizations here in the Baton Rouge area.
I do worry sometimes about the safety issues when people stop to give homeless people money. I worry about the homeless people as well.
Now, for those who might believe it's heartless and uncaring to make it illegal to give a beggar some money, McMakin thinks it's actually the opposite.
I'll flip it on them and say I'm more concerned. I want less people out on the interstate highway systems. I want people not to be out there doing that. I want them to go seek the proper help. And that's where the idea comes from.
Of course, not everyone seems to agree that giving a panhandler money on any public street should be a crime.
You should be able to still give it if it's during the daytime or at night. I don't feel threatened. Usually when I give change, they tell me God bless me, and they're thankful for me giving some change.
Late last month, NOLA.com reported that the advocacy director of the Justice and Accountability Center of Louisiana expressed opposition to this bill, noting it could lead to state overreach on our public streets and some First Amendment issues. It's also worth pointing out that according to the US Census Bureau, Louisiana has some of the worst poverty rates in the entire country, and they haven't improved much since around 2010. The National Coalition for the Homeless observes that deciding whether or not to give to panhandlers is a personal decision, and while some might not do it out of a fear that money might be spent towards supporting addiction, while that could occasionally be true, money may also help someone buy a meal, clothes, housing, transportation, healthcare, or, pretty much anything money can buy. They also note that instead of giving money, you could also choose to give a panhandler something like a gift certificate to a restaurant or food, or even something as affordable as eye contact and a smile, which can simply reaffirm the humanity of a person experiencing homelessness. Now, this bill doesn't seem to define a smile as anything of value. That instead would be any type of financial instrument. And should this thing become state law, McMakin says it could be enforced by the police or by yourself.
Enforce it like you do any other law. You have the police, you have the sheriff's office involved, state troopers as well can do that, whatever it may be. And then hopefully you can self-enforce it, that people know that in Louisiana, it's illegal to now give to solicitors, and hopefully everyone just stop doing it.
Earlier this month, the bill was passed by the state house and moved on to the state senate. So do you think this should become a law in Louisiana? Leave us a penny for your thoughts in the comments. But just to be safe, mail us a check or something. And now for some legitimate theater. This is footage from Friday night at Mount Mansfield Union High School in Jericho, Vermont, where students mounting a performance of Little Shop of Horrors shared the stage with some serious star power. And no, not Jack Nicholson, not Rick Moranis, not Steve Martin. Instead, our guest star here is, drumroll please, the governor of Vermont.
Well, that wasn't so bad, now was it? Well, probably no worse than my press conference every week.
Wow, what an ad-lib. So for those who aren't familiar with this show, it's a musical comedy farce about plants that eat people, with films and stage adaptations spanning Broadway, off-Broadway, and off-Broadway, aka a high school in Vermont. In fact, a high school auditorium is one of the more likely places you're bound to encounter this show. According to the Educational Theater Association's most recent list of the most popular high school musicals, Little Shop of Horrors ranks at number 4 between Into the Woods and 2 Disney movies that are tied for 5th. Local news reports that this high school theater department put out this video back in January, extending a special invitation to the governor to accept a cameo role in their spring musical.
And we want you to make a guest appearance.
For one performance.
Reassuring the governor that he wouldn't need to waste valuable time getting off book.
Don't worry, there are no lines. It's just a small role.
These theater kids practically beg the guy by the end of the video.
How about it, Governor Scott? Will you please be in our high school musical?
And yeah, it worked. He accepted the role of a reluctant patient after expressing reluctant acceptance.
They were well done, very enthusiastic, and again, hard to say no. Not something I'm actually looking forward to, though.
In spite of being promised no lines, he clearly improvised a bit with the help of a clipboard.
Is this include Novocaine? What if we just skip the Novocaine? Can I say something?
While some of these kids may one day go on to earn their union cards and find fame in pharmaceutical commercials or Samuel Beckett plays that inspire giant disembodied clown head art, the play's musical director told the Burlington Free Press that the governor had never been in a play before. And if you'd like the chance to see him do it again, too bad. This thing only ran for 3 days. Now don't worry, Little Shop of Horrors is still running at the West Side Theater in New York City, but if you'd still rather see a Vermont politician take to the stage in a high school auditorium, you better hope some enterprising theater students have what it takes to get Bernie Sanders to show up in Hamilton or something.